Welcome back to another exciting episode of Resort Randomizer. If you guys are new here, this is the game where we come to the Disney Springs bus stop station, roll a random number generator, and hop on whatever bus it tells us to. We go spend the afternoon out at that resort, checking it out, filling out the ambiance, and seeing if that resort is right for you. A couple of rules to our game though. Rule number one, it has to be random. No matter what number we get, we have to jump on that bus, unless we've been there before, and at that point we will re-roll, and by the end of the game, we've gone to every single resort. Rule number two, a couple of locations we won't be going to, which include Shades of Green, the private military resort, Golden Oak, the private residence, Galactic Star Cruiser, which is a private experience all on its own, and any third-party resorts on property, including the Swan and Dolphin, which are owned and operated by Marriott. Prior to today's episode, we've been to all of these resorts listed here. If you guys want to check those out, I will have a playlist at the end of this video and in the description below, so you guys can check it out from there. So why don't you guys come along, let's go make some memories together. Looks like 27 is our highest number we can roll today. We've done quite a few of these by now. We've got only a handful of resorts left to pick from, so hopefully we get a great roll today. Number 16, Art of Animation, let's go. All right, Disney's Art of Animation Resort, a value resort here on property. In fact, it is the newest value resort, opened up, I believe, about 10 years ago or so. It's a sister resort to Pop Century. If you guys haven't seen that vlog, we've already been there before. Which you guys know that means it shares a Skyliner station, which is a huge perk of staying there. We're gonna see some larger than life Disney characters like Little Mermaid and Lion King, and some larger than life Pixar characters, including Cars and Finding Nemo. Let's go. We have made it to Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Not very far from Disney Springs, because we are in the EPCOT and Hollywood Studios area of the resort. Being a value resort, there is quite a large bus stop here, but what I like about this one is that it's all covered. I've not seen a covered one at any other resort. And you guys know Florida, lots of bad weather, lots of bad rain. You'll be staying dry here, it looks like. So we've actually stayed at this resort before. It was back when the 50th anniversary first started. If you guys are also familiar with Pop Century Resort, this is right next door to it. So they're kind of sister resorts, very similar layouts. And in fact, this was originally intended to be the second half of Pop Century Resort, but more on that later. Now, from the bus stop here, we do have an entrance into the gift shop and the dining location, but we're not gonna go through that way. We're gonna go all the way around and going through the main entrance. And like I said earlier, we're gonna be seeing some Disney and Pixar friends here, including Cars, Little Mermaid, Finding Nemo, and The Lion King. Not only is Art of Animation known for the 4 films that are featured here, but it's also known for the room styles they have here. Most of this resort features family suites instead of your typical studio room with 2 queen beds, which is wonderful for large families. We've got a beautifully colored lobby here. Love the accents and love the transitioning of colors all the way down. They've got a wonderful chandelier down there, which we will talk about later. But here to my right, we've got a bunch of concept art for the 4 films that are featured here. So what the characters were originally intended to look like. So we've got like Mater, and we've got like Scar, Luigi. There's a very scary Bruce right there. One thing that Matt just pointed out that I kind of forgot existed was that it goes from sketch all the way down to more of a finalized product. I'll show you guys what it looks like down at the very end, where you get the actual versions of those characters. We've also got the recreational activities for the month of June. Every resort is going to have a little board like this talking about all the free and paid activities that you can do while maybe you're not at the theme parks, you want to have a resort day. Things like trivia, movies under the stars, s'mores making. And in fact, they have an example of one of the art classes you can do here. You can see the outlines of the characters start to gain a little bit more shape. Maybe they're starting to look a little bit more familiar to what we are used to. Starting to look extremely familiar to us. And then down here at the end, like that's Timon and Pumbaa, that's the official version we got. Ursula, Simba still looks a little different. Above us is that really gorgeous chandelier that uses a bunch of concept art. And in fact, this print I'm looking at right here, if you notice, that is Miss Jodie Benson's signature. She is the original voice of Ariel from The Little Mermaid. Matt just pointed out the late great Pat Carroll, who was the voice of Ursula. Very cool. Coming over here, we've got the exit out towards the main pool and the rest of the resort. We'll go out there later. Ink and Paint Shop is going to be your one and only gift shop here at the resort, which is pretty large. These are very big compared to, say, your deluxe style gift shops. Upon walking in, we've got our exclusive merch for the resort, which is quite a bit for a value resort. Very cute mermaid shirt, magnet, mug. Oh, I like that pin. That's cute. Here is our ornament for the resort, which is Ariel and her friends on top of like an inkwell with a paintbrush. Very creative. Here's the Art of Animation ears, which are very, very cute. Now, these are kind of rare because you don't see a lot of ears for value resorts. And my favorite thing about them is that they change color in the sun. So right now they're white, the background fills out to a pink, which is perfect for this resort. And even rarer than that, they have a spirit jersey for this resort. I have never seen this at all for any value resort. That's crazy. I love this. Do I need this? Little Art of Animation sketchbook you can get. They've even got Art of Animation rash guards for kids. They went all out for this resort. And here's the exclusive pin for Art of Animation. It's a sketch of Simba on like a little drawing pad. Very cute. This first half of the gift shop is going to be things like toys and plush, souvenirs, maybe things you forgot to grab while you were at the parks, or maybe your kid just can't wait and they need a toy right now. And every resort's gonna have what I call the medicine cabinet. It's gonna be things that maybe you forgot to bring, maybe things you didn't think that you needed, or maybe things that you ran out of while you were here at the resort. Things like Tylenol, toothpaste, women's care products, sunscreen, baby diapers. There's actually quite a bit to choose from here, including baby food. That's the most baby food I think I've ever seen at any resort. And on this side of the resort, we've got more of our apparel side, so things like spirit jerseys, t-shirts, ears, ear hats, magnets and keychains and pins, magic bands, luggage, lots to pick from. Nothing super extravagant, but again, this is a location that if you forgot to grab something or maybe your kid just can't wait, there's a lot to pick from in here. Coming from the gift shop, we're gonna move into Landscape of Flavors, which is your one and only dining location here at this resort. And I will say it is absolutely gorgeous in here. You've got 4 different realms. This right here is going to be the Lion King realm. You've got the Cars realm over here, and then you also have Nemo and the Little Mermaid, which are further into the dining location. So yes, being a value, this is the only location you're gonna have to get food. However, you are very close to Pop Century Resort and you are on the Skyliner, which means you have even more options to pick from. They're just not as immediate as this one. But we've eaten here before and there's actually some pretty good food here. Lots of unique options. Got some wonderful looking platters here with some braised beef and some garlic shrimp, some panko crusted salmon. Of course, you do have your standard favorites like pastas and meatball subs. And over here, I believe you have things like just like regular theme park food, burgers, chicken tenders, fries, sandwiches. Oh, there's also a pizza window over here as well. Over here in this corner, we've got some quick grab cereals and your resort mugs, along with some bottled things like juices, milks, sodas, waters, got some beers for the adult crowd, got some quick service things like sandwiches, salads, fruit cups, yummy looking treat case over here with lots of bakery goodies in it. Now, of course, in every resort, we always grab a dessert as kind of like an exclusive thing. I was gonna originally come here and get the mermaid tail cupcake because I've had that one before and it was really good. But now I'm seeing this Nemo cake. This might only be for the 100th anniversary, so I don't know if I'm gonna get it since it will be here permanently, but that is looking really nice. So something to be a little bit aware of when coming to dine at a value resort. It is cafeteria style, so not only the options are somewhat limited, this resort's a little bit better than most, but it's very, very loud in here. So if you're wanting kind of a quieter area to come at, this might not be the ideal location to come to. We are about at peak lunchtime, and even though it is a weekday and you figure most people would be at the parks, they're here having lunch. So it's a little overwhelming, it's a little loud. There are tables outside. You can always take yourself back to your room. But yeah, just keep that in mind. Back out here to under our chandelier. We're gonna take a right, go out to the main resort here. But before we go, we're gonna go to the Pixel Play Arcade, which is an arcade. Being a value resort, this should be a fairly large arcade. Lots of families stay here, lots of young kids stay here, so I'm sure this gets a ton of use. Let's see, oh yeah, it does go pretty far back. I think the Pop Century one might be a little bit larger, but lots of games in here, lots of people actually using them in here. It looks like a lot of fun. All right, guys, let's go explore the rest of the resort. Here's a map right outside the exit we just left. This right here is gonna be Animation Hall where we started. That's our gift shop, check-in desk, and dining location. This first section right here is going to be Finding Nemo. This is going to be your main pool, the big blue pool. But I want to hold off on exploring that first. I want us to go back and start in Cars. We'll start in Cars, go to Nemo, then Lion King, and then we'll end with The Little Mermaid. And along the way, we'll check out the Skyliner. And then along this path, there's going to be some factoids about each film, and we'll point out some of our favorite ones. Coming into the Cars section, they did a wonderful job recreating Radiator Springs. Got some billboards here that are hiding our staircases. The value resorts always have very fun staircases, and these ones happen to be billboards for Ornament Valley. and Radiator Springs itself. We're gonna see a lot of larger than life characters today, and Sheriff's gonna be our first one. And you can come up and take photos with them. So feel free to come up, just don't climb on them, but feel free to take photos with your favorite characters. Now, earlier I did mention that there are mostly family suites that are featured here at this resort. Cars is gonna be one of those locations, along with Nemo and Lion King. The Little Mermaid is gonna be the only location that's gonna be your standard double queen sized room. And I love the use of like an actual like Route 66 road that takes you all the way back to Radiator Springs. Hi, Doc. Good afternoon. We've got Miss Flo right here, and then across from her is Ramon. Low and slow. Got Lightning McQueen's best friend, Tow Mater, here at his junkyard and towing service, which is also one of the entrances into the resort rooms. Got Sarge out here standing guard next to his surplus hut, which unfortunately is not an actual store. I believe it's going to be like a maintenance shed for cast members. And here at the very back of the resort is the Wheelwell Inn, which, if I remember my Cars lore correctly, this is the hotel that Sally originally owned, and then the town went in disrepair. Either way, we've got Miss Sally here, along with Stickers himself, Lightning McQueen. It's been a very long time since I've seen Cars, so forgive me. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, please. It's all natural, man. And over here we've got Luigi and Guido just outside Casa della Tires with the Leaning Tower of Tires. The middle of the resort brings us to the Cozy Cone Motel, which is where Sally works, Lightning McQueen's girlfriend, and that's actually our first pool we're gonna go check out. The Cozy Cone Motel pool is going to be one of your 3 pools featured here at the resort. Arguably, I would say this one is my favorite. I think it's the most creative. I love the use of the like little cones that are actually like lounge chairs inside there. I'm sure they are first come, first serve, and I'm sure they're very, very popular. This is gonna be one of your more quieter pools. The Nemo pool is gonna be your largest one, and then the Little Mermaid has the other pool. But yeah, these ones are just a little bit quieter. They're not as fun and crazy and chaotic, which if you need a break from just the hustle and bustle of the theme parks, this might be a great option for you. Now we're coming out here to the little pathway I mentioned earlier that's going to have the factoids about each film, but it's also going to be here on the edge of Hourglass Lake. So across from Hourglass Lake is going to be Disney's Pop Century Resort. That right there is the Skyliner, which we will talk about later, but this pathway actually does a full loop all the way around. So you've got a very, very large running trail for those guests who want to actually go on a very long jog during their vacation. The backs of the buildings also have little sketches on pieces of paper. This one features what looks like Luigi, and I can't tell if it's supposed to be something where it's like a flip book where it's supposed to do different animations along the way, because he's doing different things in each one. But yeah, if you guys want to check out more like hidden details, come along this little pathway and look at the art inside the building. Additionally to our stairwells that are based on road signs for the car section, at least, we have ones that are sketches with a little flip book up there. There's Luigi and Guido, and then over here, as a preview for the Nemo section, we've got Nemo and Squirt. Well, I found a wonderful Cars fact, which also ties into Toy Story. To infinity and beyond, Lightning McQueen's Lightyear tires are a nod to none other than Buzz Lightyear. So like I said earlier, these are going to be family style suites in most of this resort with the exception of the Little Mermaid rooms, and these are going to be heavily themed rooms. I'll put a couple pictures up of what each suite looks like and just kind of how loud they are in terms of decoration. So they are perfect for fans who love Cars, Nemo, Lion King, and just really want to live in those stories while they're here. These rooms are pretty expensive for values. Granted, you can sleep a large amount of guests in them, but if you're looking for something that's not going to break the bank, this is definitely going to be the most expensive value resort by far. One thing to also keep in mind when navigating around resorts like Values is that a lot of this is going to be outside. Right now it is the middle of June. It is going to be like 95 degrees today, and it is very, very hot out. So navigating around resorts can be kind of a pain, especially if you're not prepared for the heat. Luckily, a lot of these rooms, especially the suites, have inner hallways that link you to each room, but just walking to and from each location, you're probably gonna break a sweat. Coming back over here to the main area where we started, which is the Nemo section, our Nemo stairwell are gonna be like the long like pier pillars with the seagulls on top. And I don't know if I'm gonna catch it at any point, but they do say mine, mine, mine. The Nemo section is also home to the one and only pool bar here at the resort, which is called the Drop Off. On the other side of the Drop Off pool bar, we've got a laundry center. I forgot to mention that the Cars pool also has laundry. Every pool is going to have a laundry center. And this right here is going to be the Big Blue pool. This is going to be the main pool for the resort. As you can see, it is very, very busy here. And of course, it is Nemo themed. And I'm not sure if this counts, but this might be our hidden Mickey for the day. It's at a weird angle, but I'm going to count it. Now, the big blue pool is wildly popular. It is one of the most popular pools in all of Disney property. They are very, very strict about who uses it. It is only for Art of Animation guests. So if you are not staying here, unfortunately, you will not be able to use it. One of my favorite features about the pool is that they have speakers in the water. So when you're underwater, you can hear the music playing. And as I mentioned earlier, it's very, very busy here. So much busier than the Cars pool. So if you don't want to deal with the craziness of how hectic this pool is, I would definitely go to one of the other two. Doesn't matter if you're staying here in the Nemo section, as long as you're staying at Art of Animation, you can use any of the 3 pools. Oh, the zones, the zones. Let's name the zones. Let's name the zones of the open sea. Sorry for my singing. This pool also has a splash pad for kids, which has a sea anemone with Marlin and Nemo poking their heads out over there. And just behind the splash pad here, we've got the little playground here with Squirt Crush's son. I'm obviously too big to go use them, but slides and some little crawl spaces. A little fun area for kids to play in. And here we've got not only Crush, but Dory's hanging out with him as well. And our Finding Nemo fact for this section of the resort, a total of 74,472 jellyfish filled the sequence that had Marlin and Dory dodging a forest of stinging tentacles. That is a lot of animation. And then continuing on from the little playground here, we're gonna head down this path, which has a set of restrooms and has the Skyliner. The Skyliner is the newest form of transportation here at the Walt Disney World Resort, which opened in 2019. This is, as you can tell, a floating gondola system. This is going to service not only Art of Animation, where we're currently at Pop Century, which is across the bridge over here, but it's also going to go on to multiple other resorts, including Caribbean Beach, Riviera, Yacht, Beach, and Boardwalk. This also connects you to EPCOT and Disney's Hollywood Studios, so using this is a huge perk of staying here. Now, the Skyliner isn't for everybody. If you are afraid of heights or enclosed spaces, this is not ideal for you. I think it is personally worth it because this is very fast and very efficient. From about here to EPCOT, I believe it's about 20 minutes, if not less than that. It does not service to Animal Kingdom or Magic Kingdom, so you will have to rely on buses. And a lot of times the buses from both Pop and Art will not run you to EPCOT or Hollywood Studios. They want you to take the Skyliner. I mentioned earlier that Art of Animation was originally intended to be the second half of Disney's Pop Century Resort. The bridge that I'm walking on right now that connects the Skyliner and both resorts is called Hourglass Lake. This is the Generation Gap Bridge. Pop Century, if you're not familiar, is pop culture references from the 1950s through the 1990s. And then they were going to build this as the 1900s through the 1940s. Unfortunately, September 11th happened, which completely halted most travel and most vacationing across the world. They had actually gotten as far as completing the main lobby and the Little Mermaid section, which is why that one's not a suite, before they had to stop. And unfortunately, this sat abandoned for many years, and then they decided to pick up the progress back up, but instead of converting it to the pop culture references of the earlier years, they decided to make it the Art of Animation Resort, which I think was a pretty good call. And with me talking that entire time, that led us over here to Pop Century Resort. So you can see how very quick it was to cross that. Now, we're not gonna go explore Pop Century. We have actually done a video on Pop Century. I'll include that in the description below so you guys can check it out. It is one of my favorite resorts on property. I think it is amazing for the value. It shares a lot of the same amenities as Art of Animation. And like I said, these are sister resorts, so they are very quick walk over between back and forth, so you can visit both when you're staying here. I've also done an entire POV video of me riding this Skyliner and all of the stops it goes to, the resorts it visits, the theme parks it visits, and just kind of how best to navigate it. You also get a pretty good look of what it looks like from above and kind of how high you go. So maybe that'll help ease you guys into riding it if you're feeling really nervous about it. I'll link that video in the description below and in the cards at the end so you can watch it from there. Leaving the Finding Nemo section, we are gonna head into the Lion King section next. Our first full Disney section, no Pixar in this one. And our fun stairwells for this one looks like it's gonna be Pride Rock. And first thing we see Rafiki. I think he's telling us which direction to go. The Lion King section is the only section that does not have a pool. It's just gonna be this walkway that goes straight through, but they do have some fun character moments in here. Like we've got Mufasa here on Pride Rock itself. That's what I love about this resort. There's a lot of fun photo ops here. And this right here is one of my favorite recreations to point out. It is the marshmallow roasting fire pit. Looks like they've got some little markers for everyone to stand on. I don't remember if the ones here are free or if it's a paid activity you have to do, so definitely check in with your front desk when you guys check in. Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata, Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. All right, sorry for the singing again. Uh-oh, we're getting kind of spooky over here. Got the elephant graveyard and Scar. Oh no, we've got some hyenas up here too. The elephant graveyard kind of doubles as like a little mini playground for kids. Obviously you shouldn't climb on anything, but it is padded over here. I think it's intended for kids to run around the little tunnels that are under there. But yeah, you got Bonsai Shenzi and Ed on top of the cliffside right there. And then they've got their big boss, Scar, watching guard over here. And Zazu here rounds out our characters in the Lion King section. So this is actually one of my favorite facts about the Lion King. I think it's kind of incorrect because from what I understand, Jeremy Irons did the voice of Scar, and then there's a point where he goes, "You won't get a sniff out of me," and throws out his voice, and then Jim Cummings, who is the voice of Ed, did the rest of it. Now, if you guys listen to the song now, you'll hear two different voices. So I'm pretty sure that's what it was, not that he had a sore throat. But let me know in the comments below which one you think is correct. All right, well that wraps up not only the Lion King section, but the last of the family suites. So we're gonna head into the final section and our standard rooms, which is going to be based on the Little Mermaid, which our stairwells look like either coral or like some kind of seagrass. And you'll also notice that these have balconies on the outside and not like enclosed spaces. Got a dingle hopper here and a snarf blat, thingamabobs, maybe even 20 of them. So these rooms are going to be considerably cheaper than your family suites. And one of the biggest issues people have with this resort is as far away as this Little Mermaid section is. Frankly, I don't think it's that far, but I can kind of understand that if you're coming back from a very long day at the parks and you just hopped off the Skyliner and you've been out for 12 hours, the last thing you want to do is walk even more to your room, and that's kind of where they're coming from. So I get it, but I don't think they're as far as everyone makes it seem to be. Got the valiant Prince Eric, and I think we took a wrong turn somewhere because somehow we've ended up into the lair of that sea witch Ursula and her poopsies, Flotsam and Jetsam. Now this is the section that we stayed in when we stayed here. I thought it was decent, I liked it, and these are pretty heavily themed on the inside, kind of like the suites, not as heavy-handed, but they still are pretty loud on the inside, which personally, I wasn't a huge fan of. Here's our third and final pool called the Flippin' Fins pool. Again, very quiet, just like the car section. I think a little bit bigger than the car section. And just like the other two pools, we've also got a set of restrooms and laundry. Yeah, these rooms and the aesthetic are radically different compared to the rest of the resort. Not in a bad way, they are just entirely different. They almost feel like we're at two separate resorts now. And here we've got Sebastian the Crab getting ready to conduct some kind of symphony for the ruler of the seas, King Triton. And at the very back of this resort section, we've got Ariel and Flounder. Just to give you guys some perspective, this is the back end of the Ariel building where we saw Ariel over there. This is the walking path where we've been sharing all of our little factoids on. And then over there is going to be the Skyliner station. So it's the only Skyliner station that is in this area. So it is kind of a far walk. I personally don't think it is that bad. But again, if you are coming back from a 12-hour day at the parks, it might be a little much. This is also another factoid that I really enjoy about The Little Mermaid. They had attempted to make it since the 1930s. It was a story that Walt wanted to create, and they just never got around to it until 1989. And it's also the same writer as the Snow Queen, which is Frozen. Well, friends, that wraps up our tour of Art of Animation. Let's go head back to the Landscape of Flavors food court and go grab that exclusive snack. All right, so we picked out our exclusive dessert for this resort. This is going to be the Mermaid Tail Cupcake, vanilla cupcake with pineapple and topped with coconut buttercream, white chocolate mermaid tail, graham cracker crumb, crispy pearls, and glitter. It's been a long time since I've had this one, but I have had it before. I'm a huge fan of coconut and pineapple, so I'm really excited to try this again. Oh, that broke easily. We're just gonna dive right in. Haha, get it, dive. So our first attempt got us mostly frosting, but you can see the pineapple filling in there. Ooh, I like that pineapple. That's really good. The coconut, I feel like, is really subtle. Or at least the pineapple overpowers it. I've had better cupcakes. You guys know me, I'm pretty vocal on the Disney cupcakes and how I feel a lot of them are just kind of eh. This one is a little bit better than the eh category. It's really good flavor palette-wise, but I think I'd probably go get one of the other desserts over this. I just like how pretty it is and how it's truly exclusive to this resort. All right, let's talk pros and cons of Disney's Art of Animation Resort. Pros, the Skyliner. I am a huge advocate for the Skyliner. I think it is the most efficient mode of transportation here at the Walt Disney World Resort. It can whisk you off to multiple resorts and two of the theme parks in a matter of minutes. But I will say, it is not for people who are afraid of heights or enclosed spaces. But I promise you, try it at least once. It is well worth it. You may come to find out that you love it as much as I do. The theming is on point here. If you have a huge love for Disney Pixar stories, there is no better resort to stay at than this one. From the larger-than-life character statuettes that are everywhere, to the giant pools, to the concept art in the lobby, this resort is also very family-forward. Not only is it wonderfully designed with Pixar and Disney stories, but those family suites. There's not a lot of family suites here at Disney that aren't included in DVC, so these rooms are definitely coveted because of their size and how many family members they can hold. Most value resorts are known for their lackluster food courts, but this one's pleasantly surprising. The fact that they serve more than just your standard burgers and fries and chicken fingers and pizza, I think is really telling. Lots of options for people who have more extensive tastes. Plus, since you're so close to Pop Century and on the Skyliner, any other dining options you want to go to are literally just minutes away. And lastly, the price. Because this is a value resort, this is one of the more cheaper options on property. But that does lead me into my cons. The pricing can also be a con, because yes, this is a value resort, but because it is A, on the Skyliner, and B, made of primarily those family suites, this can be a very expensive place to stay, where sometimes getting a moderate might be cheaper. This place can be a little overstimulating. Not only is walking around like the pool areas where kids are screaming and running around, or the lobby, or the food court, there's just a lot of movement. There's a lot of families, there's a lot of younger kids. It's not quiet. This is not a relaxing resort to be in. But if you're someone who just wants to go to the theme parks every day, and this is just a place for you to rest your head, I think this is a great option for you. The Mermaid rooms are also decently far from the Skyliner station. That is one of the biggest complaints about staying here, especially if you're not staying in one of those suites. I am currently walking from the Skyliner to the Mermaid rooms right now, and I don't feel like I've been walking that long. However, if you are coming from a 10-hour day at the theme park or longer, like I typically do, this may end up feeling like an eternity. So I can see where those complaints come from. I think the question is, would I stay here? And yes, I would. I've stayed here before. I did enjoy it. Is it my favorite value resort? No. Are there better options on property? Absolutely. Is it right next door to where we are now? Is it called Pop Century? Absolutely. I would stay at Pop Century any day over Art of Animation. Again, nothing inherently wrong with this resort. It's just not my favorite. I think you get way more of a value at the sister resort than you would here. But granted, I'm not traveling with a large family, so maybe this is better for people who are sleeping more than 5 people as opposed to myself and Matt, or maybe us having an extra person or two with us. But let me know in the comments, would you guys stay here? Have you guys stayed here? And let me know what your favorite section was. If you guys haven't done so, make sure you guys like our video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so you guys get updates on all of our future adventures. And as always, thanks for making memories with us. We'll see you next time.